Do you know what it feels like when pain takes up more and more of your life? Did you ever call yourself a pain patient, and did it help to slip into this identity in any way? In this video, I'm going to show you that you're much more than this and why it is really important not to identify yourself with what you want to get rid of the most. Short notice before we start. This video is intended for educational purposes only and not as a substitute for psychotherapy or medical treatment in any way. If you suffer from symptoms like constant pain, please consult your doctor. In an emergency, call the ambulance or go to the next hospital. Hi, I'm Gideon from Pain.Pause.Live. I'm a psychologist, licensed psychotherapist in Germany, and dealing with chronic pain myself on an everyday basis. I remember very well the first patient that came to see me in my private practice. It was a man around 60 years old, and when I opened the door, he greeted me with the words, "Hi, I'm a pain patient. My name is..." I instantly wondered, hey, what's going on here? I heard this saying hundreds of times, but nobody talked about his or her pain identity of being a pain patient before even saying their name. Now, what happens if we meld into this identity we never wanted to have? I mean, it's like saying, look at me, that's who I am. It's not like you're saying the chronic pain has become a part of my life. No, we put it up as a shield for others to see. Slipping into different roles, for example, as a father, a mother, a friend, and so on, is perfectly normal. But why should we embrace being a pain patient? And even more so, what are the consequences of doing so? I understand there are many good reasons to do this. One of them might be the difficulty that you don't look sick and in pain at all from the outside. So many people feel like they have to prove it then. Did you ever hear other people say to you, hey, you look great? And on the inside, you felt the pain soaring and roaring just because you made a happy face when feeling so bad? The others say things like that and you just don't feel understood at all, huh? For many others, it's really tough to understand what it's like to deal with constant or recurring pain. So we fuse with the identity of the chronic pain patient to let them know that something really bad is going on inside of us, something you don't see. Another point could be that it makes it easier to communicate what's wrong with you, especially within the health system. If I go to a hospital or to a doctor and tell them that here's a pain patient, it saves a lot of explanations, especially around medication. Depending on how they think and feel about chronic pain, it might be easier for them and us to deal with the situation. Well, I know it's not always true, but often enough the doctors know better in which direction to ask. I know there are even more reasons why the pain identity might be an advantage. And we just slide into it because the pain takes over more and more areas of our life, doesn't it? Sometimes it seems like it's all that is left. All that is left is the pain and all the fighting against it. Everything in your life revolves around it. I don't know anybody who consciously decided, from this day on, I want to be called a pain patient. It's more like we're forced into it. And because of the loss of our usual roles in our job, family, with our friends, this seems to be the only identity that is left for some of us. But what happens to your life when you take on this identity? I know it's not a voluntary or conscious decision most people make, but do you actually remember when you called yourself a pain patient for the first time? Whenever your mind decides to take on an identity or role, this is followed by a lot of consequences that most people don't see in the beginning. You might want to take a second or two and think about the beneficial and especially the negative consequences. You could even make a list to see them next to each other. Why did I tell you to think about the negative consequences? Because it's the part we don't want to see. But it's vitally important because exactly this can keep us trapped really badly. There's always a price we pay. And see what's it like for you. But Gideon, is this only true for pain? Of course, this isn't only the case for the pain identity, but for every role we take on in our lives. We behave differently in a role of a parent, the role as an employee or as a boss. We behave differently in the role of a team player in sports than as a trainer. And in the same way, we behave differently as a pain patient. For some people, it's more like behaving like a victim. And for others, it's more like behaving like a fighter or switching between these two. Maybe it's about giving up or using this identity as a shield, not letting anyone see who's truly behind it. Maybe you're afraid of what others might think or say. Maybe you're a bit ashamed. Or maybe you're just fed up of thinking that you have to justify everything. What's it like for you? And moreover, did it help so far? Does your pain identity help, or does it stand in between you and meaningful contacts you might make with others? A life you value? See for yourself and check honestly. And now let me know in the comments if you liked this video. Just subscribe and you see more content like this. Happy to take a step into life with you.